Graduates, friends, and loved ones, I want to start with a huge congratulations to all of you. You should all be extremely proud of yourselves and each other for your success. It's no small feat to achieve a master's degree, and you've all done it. Congratulations. I'd like to thank Dr. Morton Lane for bringing me into this program. I have a great amount of respect and admiration for Dr. Lane, his staff, and their clear dedication. I've seen a lot from Dr. Lane that shows me just how much he cares about all of you and your success. This program could not be in better hands. Thank you, Dr. Lane. You just heard some of this, but my name is Dan Perper, and I'm a partner and advisor at Peak Six Investments, an investment firm in Chicago. I've been married for 22 and a half years. My wife, Danielle, is right there with the video of me. And we got engaged about a mile from here in 1995, sorry. We have 3 kids between the ages of 12 and 17 years old. I'm on the MSFE board, and I'm also a U of I alum. I graduated from the College of Engineering with a computer science degree back in 1995. From there, I worked at Swiss Bank as an options trader for 4 years. Then I worked at Peak Six Investments for over 20 years, mostly as the head of trading and the CEO of Peak Six Capital Management. Last month, I retired from Peak Six to focus on new dreams. In my time at Peak Six, I had 10 different bosses and over 1,000 people who reported to me either directly or indirectly. I've experienced many different situations and people and learned from what I can from all of them. In preparing for today, I watched a bunch of commencement speeches online. One of the most common things I heard was, "Today I want to tell you what I wish I knew when I was younger." Well, that is not what I am going to do. I don't want to tell you what I wish I knew, because the fact is, you are not me. There truly is no way to know what you should know today without living your life. That said, there are plenty of tips that can help you, and it's very important to get help along the way. Mentors and loved ones are extremely important in helping guide you throughout life. But it is your life, no one else's. Remember that always, and remind yourself often. Today, I'm going to tell you some relevant stories about my journey, and give you some tips that I hope will help guide you on your journey. Let's start by talking about dreaming big and breaking through limits. It is likely that every person here today thinks you have some limit on what you can achieve, or at least that there is some wall that you can't see past. But I would be willing to bet that every single one of you can break through those limits. How do I think you break through your limits and achieve life success beyond your expectations? One simple sentence. Work hard to make your life closer to your dream life every day. I'll say it again, because I think it's very important. Work hard to make your life closer to your dream life every day. To do this, of course, requires having a dream life to get closer to. For clarity, by dream life, I mean this. Something in life you want, usually but not always difficult and seemingly unlikely to achieve. That something can be a feeling like happiness or love. It can be family, financial, an unclear idea in your head, or pretty much anything you can think of. The other very important part of the sentence is work hard. I'm sure all of you know about this. Achieving your dreams is not easy, but it is well worth the effort. And here's the really cool part. As you keep growing and getting closer to your dream gets bigger, and you will achieve even more than your original dream. I want to give you some examples from my life to show you what I mean, and maybe give myself a little credibility. When I was a senior in college, thinking I was about to enter the working world as a developer making $30,000 a year, I told my now wife's grandmother that I was going to be a millionaire by the time I was 30. I had no idea how I was going to do this, and didn't know if it was realistically possible. But it was my dream, and I said it with conviction. This simple statement ended up being a huge driving force in my decision making. When it came time to get a job, I randomly heard about options trading. Being the huge math geek that I am, I was very intrigued, but also very nervous about going into a field that had nothing to do with what I had just gotten a degree in. But my mindset was clear. I'm never going to achieve my dreams if I don't take chances in life. I was already engaged to be married, so I had responsibilities, making this an even tougher decision. I decided I had to be confident in my abilities and go for the exciting choice that could either end with me having no job at all or end positively in some way that I couldn't even imagine at the time. I'm not sure what would have happened if I didn't have a big dream, but I'm definitely glad I did. I went to work at Swiss Bank learning about options. When I first got there, I was filled with big dreams. My first dream was to become a trader before the people who had started a year before me. I worked my butt off to get there, and it worked. But then, something happened. I made a huge mistake. I was on autopilot to my $1 million dream, and I fell asleep at the wheel. I didn't realize until many years later that at that time in my life, I needed to come up with a bigger dream. I'm not sure I would have ever woken up if I didn't get extremely lucky. In fact, in 1998, 1 year before I started at Peak 6, they asked me to come work for them. They had 4 people at the time. I said, no, I'm good where I'm at, thanks. Then in spring of 1999 came the event that changed my life for the better. UBS bought the bank that I was working at and consolidated all of their staff to Stamford, Connecticut. I didn't want to move, so I left my job and went to work for Peak 6. But it was not because I had a dream. It was because it was a job and I needed one. Luckily, when I started at Peak 6, I was hired as a clerk and I literally had to start over. My salary dropped 75% from my previous job, and I had a mortgage to pay. At the time, I thought it was a nightmare, but now I know what a blessing it was. The blessing was, now I had no choice but to dream again. I dreamed of what position I wanted to be in. I knew where I wanted to be was much higher up than where I was. I can tell you though that the CEO of a huge trading business was not anywhere in my dream, not even close. It was well beyond the wall that I couldn't see over at that time. Instead of falling into place with the other clerks, I knew I had a lot of work to do to prove to my new employer just what I was capable of. The only reason I knew this was because I had a dream. And this is important, I never would have had an aggressive plan without an aggressive dream. With an aggressive plan, all you have to do is execute. It's not easy, but it's doable. My plan to achieve my dream was to respectfully challenge everything the company was doing. This way I would learn why I'm wrong, or I would help make Peak 6 better, and would help me stand out and prove myself to leadership. I became a trader within 4 months. Within 1 year, I was running a trading team. By the next year, the head of trading was consulting with me on every decision. 1 year after that, the founders made me the head of trading. Years later, I was talking to the founders about why they moved me up so fast and ultimately put me in charge of trading. They said to me very simply, you challenged us every day and you thought big. Then, a couple years later, I got comfortable and fell asleep at the wheel again. In a meeting with the founders, they asked me, so what big thing are you going to do next? It was a great wake-up call. I had forgotten to dream because I was so caught up in the daily grind of the job. Luckily, I had my bosses to wake me up and get me back to dreaming. Ironic, I know. That week, I came up with the dream and then set on a strategic path to achieve it. And it completely changed how the entire trading operation was organized, setting us up for much greater future success. Now, this new one hasn't played out yet, but it's an example of how I used my past to create new dreams. Today, my dream is to create a mobile game that gets 10 million downloads. It probably should be more like 1 million, which is also incredibly unlikely. But 10 is my goal, and I will do everything I can to make it happen. Otherwise, I know I have no chance. Okay, I think you get it about the dreaming. I want to talk very briefly about a few other general tips that I've learned. The first one is to own your life and your career. One tip to owning your life and your career is take full responsibility for yourself. No one else is going to do that for you. This may seem obvious, but no one cares about you and your success more than you do. Okay, maybe some family members would argue they do, and maybe they do, but you get the point. For sure, no one at work cares about your career more than you do. Why am I telling you this? The part that's not so obvious is how this changes people's actions in the workplace and in life. People care about others, but rarely more than they care about themselves. Just remember that. Another tip is disagree peacefully and with humility, but never pretend you agree when you don't. One of the most important things, which I have failed at too many times to count, is to disagree without steamrolling or speaking in a hurtful way. I try, but it's hard. Go into every situation with curiosity, but also knowing that you could be wrong, and the results will be much better. This for sure applies in all parts of life. The most successful people that I've seen in both the workplace and personal life are the people who speak up and act with respect. If you don't challenge and ask questions, you are missing huge opportunities for learning and growth. If your boss wants you to do something that you don't agree with, and you just do it, you are not owning your career. And you are not helping your boss or the company. This is true with friends, family, and loved ones too, although there's a lot more complexity with those personal relationships. My last tip is, stop often and think about what makes you happy. It's very easy to get caught up in the busyness of life. Make sure you take care of yourself, both physically and mentally. No one can tell you what makes you happy. So it's up to you to step back from the busyness and think about it often. When you know what makes you happy, you can do more of it. And you can do less of the things that don't make you happy. Some of you right now are thinking, duh, I know what makes me happy. While others are thinking, wow, that seems really hard to figure out. The truth is, it seems simple on the surface, but our brains are incredibly complex. Understanding what makes you happy is an extremely difficult skill to master, and it takes a lot of work. Knowing how important it is to get help figuring out what's going on inside my head and what makes me happy, I've committed. The last 5 years, I've been working with either a coach, a psychologist, or both at all times. I've grown so much more than I expected as a result and learned so much about what is going on inside my head. To recap my big points, it is your life, no one else's. Remember that always, remind yourself of it. Work hard to make your life closer to your dream life every day. Own your life and your career. Take full responsibility for yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. Disagree peacefully and with humility, but never pretend you agree when you don't. Stop often and think about what makes you happy. Hopefully, I've given you some things to think about as you embark on the next phase of your life. Remember, take what I said as guidance, not fact, and interpret it however works best for you. Thank you for your time. Again, congratulations and good luck.